today. Hope everyone's good. It's Ollie's ASMR World here. We are back with a video, a topic of video I haven't done in a few months. So regular watchers, I have to apologise, but before going any further, about the lighting. It is middle of summer here in the UK. It's the last week of July. Yet if you look outside, you wouldn't be blamed for thinking it was like November, because the weather is awful, like really bad, for July. So yeah, anyway, moving not swiftly along. As I was saying, we haven't done a UFC video in a long time. There's been a lot of cards come and go in that time. A lot of big fights have been made in that time. And I've been asked on a few occasions, I reckon 3 or 4 times in the last few weeks, maybe months, can you do a UFC video? Well, considering the UFC is returning to London tomorrow, Saturday the 23rd, I believe it'll be. Let me have a quick gander. Yeah, the 23rd of July. I figured it was as good a time as any to do a UFC video. We have ourselves a black coffee, of course. A lovely jubbly. I can't even show it because I'll tip the spuddy thing out if I tip it too far. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do a UFC London preview video, and I need to remember to post it today because it's Friday today, and I don't want to miss. I don't want this to go out on Saturday because it'll be too late. So I have to remember to get it posted today. Anyway, this card is headlined by Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades. But I think we're going to start at the bottom of the card and work our way up. Sounds like a good way around to do it. Keep the best for last. So let's have a little look at the prelims. So this is a huge card, and by that I mean there are a lot of fights on this card. I think there's like 12 or 13, give or take. So the prelims start at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I'm hoping to see the whole thing, but I'm not too... well, if it's done by 10, I'll watch the whole thing live. The first fight we have on the prelims, according to the UFC website, is going to be Claudio Silva against Nicholas Dolby. Now, I don't know much about either of these. Let's have a little look. So Claudio Silva, let's see what he's been up to. If he's beaten anyone I know of. He lost his last fight to Court McGee by decision after 3 rounds. He also lost it to James Krause, who I know of. Again, another decision loss. He beat Cole Williams via submission in 2019. And he beat Nordin Taleb via submission. But this bloke only fights once a year. What's that all about? Like, literally, since 2016, Claudio Silva has 1 fight a year. Or no, it's a lie, in 2019 he had 2 fights. My bad. Maybe that's just the UFC not booking him enough, I don't know. Now his opponent, Nicholas Dolby, who is 37 years old. Silva is 39, by the way. Dolby lost his last fight to Tim Means via decision. He beat Daniel Rodriguez. Bloody, that's an impressive win. D-Rod is in quite good form at the minute, I believe. He had a couple of dodgy fights before that. He beat Alex Oliveira back in 2019. I think I might be placing a bet on Nicholas Dolby, to be fair. Or maybe that the fight goes the distance, because both fighters seem to like to go all the way. So yeah, Nicholas Dolby against Claudio Silva is the first fight on the prelims. Like I said, I don't know much about either let's get into the next fight. Bear with me. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh. Right. The next fight is Mandy Baum against Victoria Leonardo in the flyweight division. I don't know if there's much need to really look at it and who they fought, because again I've not heard of either fighter before. We have Jai Herbert, who got knocked out the last time he fought in London to, I think it's Taburia, the bloke who Paddy Pimblett wanted to fight. Yeah, he got knocked out in the second round by Ilia Taburia. This time round he takes on Kyle Nelson. And Kyle Nelson has never fought in the UK. Oh, he's had one fight in the UFC. And that was against Billy Quarantillo. He lost that in the third round via TKO. So yeah, maybe you're looking at Jai Herbert for the victory in this fight. He's an English lad. But he'll want to make amends for that loss in his last UFC fight in London. So I'll be backing him to get the win in that one. Then we have Mohamed Mohayev. God, I was so annoyed to not see this lad fight the last time round. So when he was in London about 3 months ago, I think it was 4 months ago, this lad was on the early prelims, so it wasn't shown on the TV in the UK, and he just run through his opponent as he took him out. So I've heard an interview with Mohayev before, a little while ago. His story is that he came from, I don't want to say where, he came from like Eastern Europe or somewhere like that. Let's see if we can find out. I don't know if we can or not. He's 21 years old. It doesn't give you much details about him here, but I know he's been living in England since he was like 10 or 11, something like that, maybe 12, and he's taken up fighting and is expected to be a future UFC champion, if not double champion. So his last fight, he tapped out Cody Durden with 58 seconds of round 1 to go. So that fight did not last long at all. Mohayev with a first round submission. And this time around he takes on Charles Johnson. I have backed Mohayev to win this fight. Didn't get very good odds, it's very low odds in all honesty. But I've got him to get the win. I actually have a bet on at the minute. Sorry. I placed it, how long ago was it now? About 3 months ago. I put £5 on, I think it's like 7 or 8 fighters to win. And currently I need Tom Aspinall, Mohayev, and Tai Tuivasa to beat Cyril Gane. If all them 3 fighters win, my £5 is worth about 300 quid, I think. The only one to let me down so far, I didn't lose the bet, it's just, it was voided off the bet, was the flipping heck, Sugar Sean O'Malley fight, because that one was called off due to injury. So, well, there was an eye poke, wasn't there, from Sugar Sean on his opponent. Otherwise, that bet would have been worth a lot more. Next, we have Marquand Americani, a Finnish fighter who I actually really like. Seen him in his last 1 or 2 fights, he was really good. He's up against Jonathan Pierce. So Americani, his record isn't great, which really surprised me. He beat Mike Grundy last time out, submission, 57 seconds to go, the first round. Before that he lost to Lerone Murphy. He lost to Kamele Kirk, never heard of him. He lost to Edson Barboza. He beat Danny Henry. He lost lost to Shane Burgos. I actually like Americani, but yeah, his record's not that good. And then we have Jonathan Pierce, 3 years younger, who beat Christian Rodriguez in his only UFC fight a little while ago. That was probably in London earlier on this year. Yeah, I think Americani wins that fight. I don't know if I'll be backing him to win, but I fancy him for the victory. Next we have Nathan Wood, and he's taken on Damir Hadzovic. I reckon Nathan Wood wins that fight. And then Mark Diakese, with his bright red hair, he's taking on... Have I got that wrong? Maybe I have. Bear with me. Let me have a little look right now. Let me look. Okay, prelims. So Nathan Wood takes on Charles Rosa. My bad. With Mark Diakese taking on Damir Hadzovic. That's the one. So Diakese is 6 years younger. He beat Borshchev in his last fight via decision. He got a submission loss against Alves the time before that. He also lost to Rafael Viziev, who beat RDA 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Or last weekend. Yeah, I think Diakese over in England should have enough to beat Hadzovic, who is 6 years older than him. And he won his last fight via decision. And the one before that he lost to Renato Moicano via submission. So I'll be looking at Mark Diakese for the victory there. Again, I don't think I'll back him for the win. I made this mistake last weekend. I put too many bets on and had way too many bad results. So I won't be doing that this time. Next we have Mason Jones against Ludwig Klein. So a little look, both at 27. Mason Jones won his last fight against David Anama via decision. He had a draw with Alan Patrick and a decision loss to Mike Davis. Ludwig Klein, what's he been up to? He got a decision win over Devontae Smith and a submission loss to Nate Landwehr. He also lost to Mike Trizano. On paper, say Mason Jones has enough, but you can't. Fights ain't won on paper, so there's no guarantee of that at all. And then we move on to the main card. These are the main card fights now, guys, where we don't really need to look at the records to tell you who these people are. So we have Paul Craig. Paul Craig, the Scottish submission master. What? This lad is unbelievable. He's up against Volkan Oezdemir. So Paul Craig, I've seen a few fights of his, but his last 2 fights he's got submission wins against Nikita Krylov in London. He looked like Craig was going to get battered, and then he got a submission win in the first round against Krylov. Before that, he got a KO win against Jamal Hill when he broke his arm. He beat Mauricio Rua with a KO. He KO'd him. He got a submission against Antigulov back in 2019. He just got a submission against Vinicius Moreira. His last loss was back in June of 2019 to Alonzo Menifield when he was KO'd. But yeah, he's up against Volkan Oezdemir, who's been around a long time. Volkan has been in there with the best, been there with DC, etc. Volkan lost his last one though against Ankalaev via decision. Before that, he lost to Yuri, the current champion. He was knocked out by Yuri. Well, said knocked out, he was KO'd. I don't know if he was actually out cold or not. He beat Alexander Rakic, and he beat Ilya Latifi in his two previous fights in 2019. He lost to Anthony Smith. Yeah, I like Paul Craig for the win here, I have to be honest. I have backed Paul Craig to win this fight. Next we have Meatball Molly. That's Molly McCann from Liverpool. I can't do a Liverpool accent. And she is up against Hannah Goldie. So, if you've seen Meatball Molly's last performance in the UFC in London, it looked like she was going to lose. It really did look like she was going to lose. And she turned it around with a spinning elbow and knocked her opponent out cold. Just gone. Her opponent did not know what day of the week it was, let alone what country she was in. So, yeah, Meatball Molly to win that fight for me. Next we have Nikita Krylov, the man who lost to Paul Craig last time out. He's up against Alexander Gustafsson. Now Gustafsson, he went away for quite a while. He retired for a bit. Then he came back. I think he lost all 3 fights after his comeback. Let me look. Let's be sure on this one. Before I give you false information. So he's not fought since 2020. He lost to Verdum, Fabricio Verdum. He lost to Anthony Smith. He lost his rematch with John Jones. His last win was 2017 against Glover. And now he's taking on Nikita Krylov, who, yes, he lost to Paul Craig. But he's 5 years younger than Gustafsson. Last year, Krylov lost to Ankalaev. Before that, he beat Johnny Walker by decision. He lost to Glover. He beat OSP. He lost to Jan via submission. He lost to Misha Serkinov. He beat Ed Herman and Francimar Barroso. Can't say I've heard of them two. I don't think it'll be a close one. I think if Gustafsson hadn't been away and hadn't had such a bad run of results in the last about 4 or 5 years, when he has fought, like I said, he's not won a lot of fights, then I might give him more of a chance. Because he hasn't had a win since 2017, I do fancy Krylov for the victory there. Next we have Paddy Pimblett. Don't get me started on Paddy. Truth be told, if I didn't find his opponent so annoying, then I'd want Paddy to lose. Because Paddy's just equally irritating. But his opponent, Jordan Levitt, is irritating me even more. So in that respect, I would like to see Paddy win this fight. He always seems to get hurt and then make a comeback. Bit strange. Then we have Jack Hermansson against Chris Curtis. So this was meant to be Jack Hermansson against Darren Till, but Darren Till is injured. So Chris Curtis has stepped up. The 35-year-old Chris Curtis, who beat Rodolfo Vieira in his last fight. Before that he beat Brendan Allen. Before that one he beat Phil Hawes. So Curtis has won his last 3 fights. In comparison to Jack Hermansson, who's a year younger, but has lost to Sean Strickland in his last fight. Beat Edmund Shabazian before that. Lost to Marvin Vittori. Beat Gastelum. 2019 lost to Jared Cannonier. Beat Ronaldo Souza, or Jacare Souza, and beat David Branch. I think this one's there for Chris Curtis to take. I'm surprised to find out that he's older than Jack Manson. But yeah, I think Chris Curtis, he only fought a month ago, which could be a downside to this pick. But I don't know, I fancy Curtis for the victory, if I'm being honest. Action Man Chris Curtis, that's his nickname. Action Man. So yeah, I'm going Chris Curtis. And that brings us to the main event of the evening. Curtis Blades on enemy territory here in the UK against Tom Aspinall. I'm going with Tom Aspinall every day of the week. Hell yeah. He's 2 years younger than Curtis Blades. Tom Aspinall beat Alexander Volkov via submission in his last fight. Before that he beat Sergey Spivak. Before that he beat Andrei Arlovsky. He also beat Alain Boudreaux and Jake Collier. He is undefeated in the UFC, is Tom Aspinall. I first seen him in the match against who was I just saying he was playing against? Fighting against, I'm playing against. There's football in the background as I said play. Arlovsky. He was the Andrei Arlovsky, was the first Aspinall fight I seen. And since then he's won 3 fights in a row, by including the Arlovsky fight. And now he takes on Curtis Blades. This is Blades, who's only lost in the UFC to Derek Lewis. What a horrible KO that was. That was a nasty KO. And he's also lost to, let me look, he lost to Francis Ngannou. No shame there. Most people do. Yeah, I think that's it. I've just Lewis and Ngannou have beaten Blades, but Ngannou's beaten him twice. 2 KO losses to Ngannou. But Blades has beaten a lot of good fighters. Alexei Linik. In 2018 he beat Alistair Overeem. He beat Mark Hunt. In 2019 he beat Shamil Abdurakhimov. Rakimov. I think that's how you say it. My bad. He beat Volkov via decision. This is where MMA math comes into it though. Blades could only get a decision win against Volkov, and then just over a year later, what's his name comes along and taps him out. Aspinall did. Blades' last win, no, he beat Jorginho. Then, and that was after he lost to Lewis. And then he beat Chris Dawkins, who most people beat, to be fair. I've never seen that. I needed to watch that because apparently it knocked him clean out. Blades did. I've not seen it. But yeah, my pick is definitely Tom Aspinall for the win. Against Curtis Blades. And I think when that happens, the roof will come off in London at the UFC when Tom Aspinall wins that fight tomorrow night. And I'll be chuffed because my bet will be a little bit closer to landing. Kidding. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on who wins, who's your favourite UFC fighter, which fights are you looking forward to. And I'll see you all again very soon.